On a radio program today, President Trump once again warning that Iranian leadership will pay hell if they kill these demonstrators. Just to give you a sense of what things look like on the ground tonight in Tehran, there are fires set across the Iranian capital, thousands of people in the streets there, and protests erupting once again across the country. Sandra?
Okay, Trey Yingst reporting out of Tel Aviv for us. Trey, thank you. John?
It really appears as if the Islamic regime in Iran is on the verge of breaking down, the verge of crumbling in just the last 24 to 48 hours. The size of these protests, which were already massive, have seemingly doubled in size. Now, as I reported a few days ago, they've been storming and taking over entire cities, but they have now made it to Tehran, which is the capital of Iran. Take a look at this stunning footage. As you can just see, throngs of people, shoulder to shoulder, filling the entire street, are taking to the streets. And they're not just out there protesting. They are actually fighting against this Islamic regime. That building that's on fire in the distance, that is a police station, and the military also works out of there. And they've also been setting police cars, as well as any government car, any government vehicle they can find, setting it on fire. This is happening not just in Tehran, but in cities all over Iran. Now, the last time I posted an update on this, the odds of Khamenei being ousted as the Supreme Leader of Iran were about 42%. That has now changed. It's skyrocketed to a 56% probability. This is according to Polymarket. And I get that betting sites, aren't an exact science, but at least when it comes to polling or betting predictions, they seem to be pretty spot on. After all, this is people's real money. And so they're taking a look at all of the facts. They're taking a look at the trend lines, and they're saying, hey, this is what we believe is going to happen. And so far, the betting sites, especially Polymarket, Kalshi, they have a pretty strong track record in predicting what's going to happen next. Well, while the protesters are having a lot of success, the Islamic regime is unfortunately fighting back. According to the New York Times, Iran is cut off from internet as protests intensify. And in fact, if you take a look at any sort of online website that tracks this, you can see that the Iranian government cut off not just internet, but cell access as well. And so it's making it difficult for the protesters to go out there and actually coordinate and fight back against the regime. And that has led to people taking to social media whenever they can. Again, obviously they don't have internet or cell service, but they're finding pockets, or if some people somehow have access to Starlink or any sort of provider that's not based in Iran but is more international based, they are getting messages out of the country. And this is one where the person is specifically talking to President Trump. He's begging for President Trump, begging for Netanyahu to take action to come in and rescue them. Take a look.
Hi, Mr. Trump. Here is Mashhad City. Ayatollah killed my people. Please help to my people. Please head to Reza Pahlavi. Come to Iran. Baby Netanyahu, please come to Iran. Please help to Iranian people. Ayatollah killed my people. Please help.
It's just chilling hearing the desperation in his voice. That last "please help," you can tell, they don't have social media influencers the way that we do, right? They don't go around trying to hawk all these products. No, they are using social media as, quite frankly, a way to fight back, a way to coordinate, and obviously to communicate with the outside world. So that really is just history in the making, and will forever be documented. Now, the reason the Iranian people have so much confidence now, and don't get me wrong, I understand that these protests, this uprising has been going on for many days now. This is the 12th day of protest. But part of that reason is definitely because President Trump spoke up. President Trump got involved. Now, he's been reiterating his threat to the Islamic regime, but he first said this on January 2nd, so about a week ago now. If Iran shoots and violently kills peaceful protesters, which is their custom, the United States of America will come to the rescue. We are locked and loaded and ready to go. And then obviously, as you saw at the very top of the video, also Trey Yingst reaffirming that President Trump talked about that on a radio program just today. So to me, look, I get a lot of people don't like the foreign interventions. They don't want any other forever wars, and I get that. I totally understand. However, here, if you've made a promise, which through President Trump, the United States has made, if you've made a promise and people, I have a feeling that these protests largely swelled to the size they are now because people felt emboldened. They said, hey, the world is watching, the world is behind us, they are rooting for us. And so I feel like we have a moral duty if something does happen, and it does look like the Islamic regime is beginning to fight back and is shooting and killing them. I do believe we have a moral imperative to keep our word and to fulfill that promise. Now, that doesn't mean that we need to fight another forever war or be in charge of this regime change, but we also need to be a country that keeps its promises. Now, there is good news on that front. There appears to already be this rising consensus of what regime change would look like. And guess what? It doesn't involve or include the United States at all. So I think this vision can be best summed up by this video clip. So whenever the protesters take over these entire cities, what they're doing is they're taking down the Islamic flag, the flag of Iran as we've known it over the last few decades, and they're replacing it with the traditional flag, the traditional monarchical flag. You'll notice it has a lion in the middle, and this is, basically they want Iran to return to its former glory, to become, what Persia used to be. And listen closely to what they're chanting here. I know it's in another language, but I'll translate in a second. So what they're chanting here is "Long live the Shah," which is basically their version of "Long live the King." It would return Iran to being a place of monarchy instead of dictatorship. And the current Shah, well, he's not really a current Shah because he's a prince in exile, but his name is Reza Pahlavi, and he actually is the one who encouraged, just yesterday, he encouraged the Iranians to take to the streets, and it was his word from the outside in that really mobilized a lot of people. So yes, President Trump warning Iran, hey, don't shoot the protesters, that really poured gasoline on the fire, but Pahlavi speaking out, I mean, this was the biggest accelerant anyone could have ever imagined. He actually appeared on Sean Hannity last night to address some of the calls for him to return to the country, maybe resume the title of Shah, and this is what he had to say.
Are you planning to go back to Iran? You have not been there in many, many years. It was 1979 when the Ayatollah came back. He was in exile in France at the time. Do you plan on going back? Do you plan on having free elections? Have you thought about it?
Sean, at the call of my compatriots, I've stepped forward to lead this transition from this tyranny to a future democracy. My role is to help my compatriots achieve that goal, to bring about a peaceful end by means of a national referendum and a constitutional assembly. I'm impartial as to what the ultimate result will be, so long as it's a secular democracy. I've trained all my life to serve my nation. I'm there to serve and help them achieve that goal, and I'm more than ever ready to step in Iran as soon as the situation warrants itself, and I'll be there with my compatriots to lead the ultimate battle.
For anyone who's been watching the Iranian uprising closely, it really appears we're on the verge of something big happening. I mean, there were rumors that there's this plan for Khamenei to flee the country, maybe flee to Russia. I mean, so many rumors. But now, the last time I posted an update on this, the protesters were only in about 78 cities, which is a lot. But now it's almost doubled in size. And on top of that, if you had taken a look at the map before, so Tehran, which is the capital of Iran, is in the north central part of the country. And when these protests were starting, it was sort of on the outer edges of the country, and it was working its way in as if the Iranians were, rising up from the outside in and all going to converge on Tehran. Well, guess what? They are now in Tehran. Keep in mind, they've already taken over several cities, several jurisdictions are already under the control of the people. And just take a look. This is from today in Tehran. And it really, when you just consider everything, when you consider the trajectory of this entire uprising, it's hard to imagine that something won't happen, right? It's more likely to believe that we're reaching the climax here real soon. So Trey Yingst, who was the person we saw at the very top of the video, he is Fox News' a war and overseas correspondent. He's been doing great reporting on this. He actually had an update. So like I said, when I gave an update on this a few days ago, the protesters were in just 78 cities. He has an update now on how many they're in and what exactly is happening on the ground in Tehran.
Protests are rapidly increasing across Iran. Human rights organizations say there are demonstrations in more than 111 different locations. We also know there are fires set in the Iranian capital of Tehran, with thousands of people in the streets there. We continue to follow these developments on the ground out of Iran. Also, there are reports of partial and full internet outages in different areas of the country, and a general strike that was ordered earlier today. We'll continue to keep you posted on Fox as this story develops.
Now, it wasn't just the guy I showed you earlier who was literally begging for President Trump to come in and rescue them. In multiple cities where the protesters have taken over, they've actually been renaming streets. They've been printing out their own signs and putting them up, and they've been renaming some of these streets President Donald Trump Street. Well, the same thing just happened in Tehran, again, the capital of Iran. But before we get to that, I would like to acknowledge the members of today's Governor's Club. They are Agenda Monero ×2, Life is Good, and Tesla Addict. Without further ado, just take a look at them renaming the streets. So despite the censorship that happens in Iran, despite the dictatorship and the oppression, President Trump's words have definitely reached them, and you can tell it's inspired them to take action and perhaps even emboldened people who were maybe on the sidelines to stand up against this tyrannical regime. Now, we're going to end on my favorite clip of protest. To warn you, if you don't like seeing blood, it's not... you're not seeing someone injured, but it is an elderly woman with blood around her mouth. So this woman, she's old enough to look like she could be a grandma. So it's a shame that she was obviously beaten up and involved in whatever street fighting was going on. But the reason I love this, now the subtitles are so short, so I'm just going to tell you what it says before I play it. But she says, "I'm not afraid anymore. I've been dead inside for 47 years. And just the way she says it and the imagery around her, this really stuck with me. And it's like, you know, you can't help, or at least I can't help, but root for what's going on. Yeah, it just, you know, who would have thought that this would be what happens, so that this would be how 2026 kicks off, with the rise of people standing up for their rights and wanting this Islamic tyrannical regime to fail, to fall, and to never come back. As always, though, all of this is just my analysis and commentary. This is what's happening in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So again, this is the exact same question I asked in my last video, but hey, there is more information than obviously there's been new news around Venezuela and around what's going on in Minneapolis. So the question is, what do you think? Would you support if President Trump took a limited strike or limited action in Iran? It appears they've already shot and killed some protesters. The numbers are all over the place basing on what news source you go off of, but it appears that the minimum, the consensus is a minimum of 32 to 33 people have been killed. So what do you think? Should President Trump fulfill his promise, stand up for the Iranian people, and strike back against the regime? Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to also smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.